Hey everybody, it's Brad Whitehouse back with Remax Pros for Real. Kelly Nichols, a.k.a. Dimes.
Dimes.
I love calling you Dimes. That's just a great nickname. And I think it was Mike Burns that came up with that nickname, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he
hate giving him credit for anything, but sometimes it's due.
It's brutal.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
So nice to have you. So, Remax Pros for Real, episode number 3. Congratulations.
Wow. Number 3.
I don't know why congratulations. It's not that big of a deal, but here you are.
I'm the 3rd winner.
You are the 3rd winner. Congratulations.
See, there I go.
So here's the deal. 20 minutes. We're going to start throwing up the white flag and pulling the plug at 20 minutes so that we can keep this short and to the point.
I like it.
But here's the whole idea of Remax Pros for Real. No scripts, no questions. No questions. There are going to be questions, but no prepping for the questions.
No prepping.
No editing.
I don't know anything.
Just you and I having a conversation about life, business, and how the two sort of collide. which they tend to often.
Yes, they do.
Often. So tell me this. You are the agent with horsepower.
Yes, I am.
And how in the world did that ever get started? I'm assuming the horsepower part came before the agent part?
Yes, actually it did.
Okay, so explain the agent with horsepower and how did you get into racing?
Well, I got into racing because of my wonderful husband, Rick. We're vintage motorsports racers. So we race a Datsun 240Z 71. Yes, Datsun before it was Nissan. But he actually got me into it. I didn't know much about racing. All I knew was like oval track, drag strip, and all that. It wasn't really my cup of tea. But when I met Rick, he introduced me to the lovely world of Formula One.
Yeah.
So, and I fell in love with that. And then I got to watch him race right before we got married, actually. And that's how I got into it. But he started me in go-karts.
Oh, really?
So my 40th birthday, I went to Bondurant and went to pro karting school.
No. And where's that? Where do you go to?
Well, Bondurant, it's something else now, but it was down in Arizona.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
How fun. Was that a riot?
Oh, my God. It was so much fun, but it was 6 hours of karting, and even after 20 minutes of karting, if you're really going, it will wipe you out.
Really?
Oh, my God. It's probably the
kind of
most
like real estate.
Physical. Oh.
6 hours, but after 20 minutes, you're exhausted.
They're both turning into contact sports. I swear to God. Totally. Well, you hope in racing it's not contact.
Little drafting, little rubbing.
Oh my God! Yeah, pretty much.
That is funny.
Yeah, the competition in both is fierce.
Yeah.
But then he stepped me into cars, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the agent with horsepower, I actually did not come up with that. I have to give credit to Jim Hatfield.
No.
I know. We're giving all these people credit for these
another
nicknames.
person I hate giving credit to, Hattie.
Hattie.
Did you know that Hattie back in 1999 hired me at Remax Professionals?
Are you from Centex, right?
From Centex Homes.
From Centex Homes,
yep.
I remember that.
That's exactly right. I graduated in 96 and went to Tom Shack and Jim Hatfield and said, I'm ready. I'm graduated. I have my license. I'm ready to come to Remax. And they looked at me and smiled and said, no, you're not. And I'm like, what? What do you mean, no, I'm not? I was totally ready. And they're like, no, you need to go do something else. So Tom got me a job at Centex.
What?
And that's how I started at Centex. He knew Craig Ford.
Oh,
and
my
got
goodness.
me, I know, names from the past. Got me a job at Centex, sat on site, and then finally convinced him to give me a shot in 99. Yeah.
That is so cool.
But
That's a cool story.
I was immediately shot down when I thought I was ready for Remax in 96.
Is it?
Anyway,
you're not ready to roll with the big boys
not exactly something I love sharing, but it's just the truth. Okay.
That's a good story.
Sorry, didn't mean to derail the conversation.
No.
But so agent with horsepower, Hatfield came up with the name. He was, trains, farm equipment,
he's huge
racing.
into all sorts of stuff. Well, I was just trying to figure out, how do I break into real estate? How do I separate myself a little bit?
Yeah.
And how do I get started? And he used to call me into his office and fireside chats with Jim Hatfield. And
did he ever do this? Did he ever pull one of the close talking?
Yeah, he did.
Kelly,
and Kelly, now you got to do.
Sometimes you got to hit the reset button.
And then he laughs. He cracks himself up. And
he does all the time.
And then he slaps his leg. Yes.
So good.
But he just said, well, you're into cars. You like that kind of thing. You should go. And he goes, you just need a little horsepower. And oh my God,
there
you're the agent with horsepower. And I'm like, that's the cheesiest thing I think I've ever heard, Jim.
Yep.
But it stuck. So it became my branding. And when I started, I got my competition license for racing in 2014.
What year did you start in the business, in real estate?
Well, I started when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, I started in 1995.
Okay.
I started working for a builder who was building my current home, Joe Junt,
Yeah.
who then became the vice president for Ryland Homes.
Yeah.
So, like you, I went into on-site sales for Ryland.
Yeah.
But the very funny thing is, the very first agent I ever met when I was out on site, working for the builder who was building my house, was Alan Smith.
No kidding.
He
Alan
came in,
strolled in.
I can't remember if he was wearing a gold jacket or not at that time.
What he for sure was wearing was the gold mustache.
Yes. Probably.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
But he was so incredibly kind to me. Yeah. And he knew I was so green and so new. And somebody just said, "Are you sure you know the front door from the back door?" I was like, "Ow." That was brutal.
Oh, boy.
But Alan was always so nice to me. And then through the years, when I was working with Ryland, then I met Jim Shackles.
Oh, yeah.
And they always let me schlep whatever community I was, stationed at and selling, but they always let me come into their sales meetings.
So I always think that there's a lot to be learned in the new home sales business for the resale business, right? I mean, I'm very thankful for my time in new home sales. So share with me, what is it that you learned in new home sales sitting on site and that you apply now to your business? And what did that transition look like? I mean, at what point did you decide, okay, enough of this? I'm ready to go to RE/MAX.
I'm ready to kick it.
Yeah.
Well, I started out on site in the garage, selling and
staring at the same 4 model homes every day. Yeah.
And walk in the community.
Yep.
But what I learned from the sales point of view is really how to engage people, not from coming in and go, "Hi, how you doing?" None of that stuff, because everybody will run the other way.
Yeah.
But just really trying to develop rapport. Because there's so many model homes out there and so many salespeople. Nobody likes to be sold. No one likes to be sold.
Yeah.
So, just really kind of coming in, trying to put people at ease and really going, how can I help this person? Do I really have something that's going to fit them?
Yeah.
And you know what? And be honest. If I do, great. If not, it's like, look, I know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I think you ought to go here. Go talk to so-and-so. And just being honest like that actually brought me more business.
Yep.
And so learning that was great. I then became, we were doing a lot of financing. That's when the 2-1 buy downs and all that stuff started. Was in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And so I learned how.
Yeah, we think it's rough now.
Oh God, it was crazy back then. But then I became national manager of sales training, and I taught financing, how to sell using financing, and all these great tools that we had.
Yeah.
Like no income, no asset, stated income, and everything that got us into a whole lot of trouble.
That's right. So it was your fault.
It was all my fault.
Right.
Yes. But then, and then I got engaged, and being on the road 4 days a week was not good. But and then I became sales manager. But being a sales manager, that's the one I think that really helped me on this side, because when we would go buy land, I would have to, before they're going to spend $20 million on a piece of ground, I'd have to go to the agents, to the builders and everything, to the builders, figure out what they were building around, what they included, what they didn't, what they charged for options, and put them in these spreadsheets that were about this long. If I never see one of those again. But it taught me how to comp. Yeah. It taught me the art of comping to the nth degree and bringing that over. So when I do valuations for people, it really helped me narrow it down quite a bit.
I totally agree. I mean, the other thing that I think I learned on site was not just relating to people and putting people at ease, right? Because you're right. I mean, people try to figure out, how can I get through the office and out to the models? How do I, the rat maze? Can I jump the fence? Can I squeeze through the bushes? How do I get past the salesperson? Yeah. But you're right. It really taught me how to recognize that sometimes just connecting with people is more important than my pitch, right?
Exactly.
And there will be time to demonstrate my value proposition and my product, but I just need to connect. And that's kind of been a pretty important lesson in this business.
Well, it is. And that's, we're always talking about that this is a relationship business. And, look at how many programs are out there with Buffini and Ninja and everything. And it's all relational, all of it. And, and that's, and yeah, it's not just about the cup of coffee. You got to get them to do something at some point,
Right.
or else we don't eat.
Right.
But the best, everybody said, well, what was your best closing line? What was your best closing to? Did you do the takeaway?
Yeah.
Did you do the assumptive close? What did you do? And I said, I didn't say a word.
Yeah.
They would ask me, so Kelly, what are our next steps? And I'm just like, buy it. This is what you do.
Have a seat.
So yeah, here you go. So, so when I got people to do that, then I knew I did my job, because it wasn't me pressuring them into something.
Right.
It was them going, we love this. Now what do we do?
So let me frame it this way, and maybe tie in some of what you've learned from new home sales too. But you've obviously built a really successful business. I mean, we've all seen our ups and downs in this business, but you've done an incredible job of building a brand, building a business. This is the question I have asked and will continue to ask in this podcast every time I do this, because I think it's great for people to hear. Knowing what you know now, if you were to go back to day one joining RE/MAX Professionals, what would you do differently? Or maybe a better way to ask it, if you could go back to day one and if you could talk to the Kelly Dimes Nichols of then.
It was pennies back then.
Maybe it was pennies back then. What kind of advice would you give? How would you mentor her?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think, again, pick just a couple of things. You don't have to take everything. Because when you first come into this business, it's like drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
And everybody has their way of doing it, and they say you should do it too.
Yep.
I think, really sitting down, figuring out who you are, what you like, what you really don't know your strengths and weaknesses yet. So don't be afraid to try.
Right.
Just get out there and see what feels and clicks with you. Pick a couple of things. I think getting some good training like Buffini that you all have given us is wonderful. There have been some people that have just, started as rookies and have just gone, because they follow that. And again, it's just about getting organized. Even if you have 10 people and that's all you know in your database, it's okay.
Yeah.
Quit worrying about the people who have 500, 1,500, 200. Don't worry about that. I think the other thing too, and I still struggle with this today, I'm rotten at it, but I work on it every day, is please, please, please don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to their success, because it brings you down. I mean,
well, let me interrupt you for a second, because what you're comparing yourself to is a Facebook profile type assumption of who they really are, right? Who that person really is. And there are some fantastic people that have built amazing businesses and have incredible lives and family, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But when we compare ourselves, we always compare ourselves with the best snapshot moment of whoever it is we're looking at, and we don't take into consideration that they've gone through some stuff too, right? They've hit some downtimes. And typically when we compare ourselves, we aren't doing it when we are at our best. When we're doing it when we're at a low point, when we're struggling. And we find a need to compare ourselves. So we tend to pin ourselves up against the best version of that person when we're at our lowest point. So thank you for saying that. Great advice. Don't compare. Well,
and it is. And I still do it today. I wish I didn't. But, and it's true. When you're not maybe where you want to be in your business. And right now, I've had, if we're gonna, pull out the Band-Aid, rip back the curtain and everything. Yeah, It's been a tougher year for me this year. Yeah. Coming off of a great year, best year I've ever had from last year. And that's somewhat the nature of this business. You wish it wouldn't be. But, and that's what I think also, going back to that advice is never stop learning.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn in this business and so much that you learn about yourself and give yourself a little bit of grace to learn. And give yourself a little bit of grace if you're having a tough time. Maybe go talk to some people. It's like, hey, what is it that you do? People that you respect, and you don't ask a ton of people, because then you just get too confused.
Yep.
But ask a couple of people. Say, hey, I'm struggling with this. What do you do when you're like this? And have your trusted few.
Yeah.
But I think that's really important. Just at any time in this business, whether you're new or whether this is my God, 27 years, both on the new side and this side. Yeah.
27 years, you're 40, so that would have been.
Oh, I like you, Brad.
13.
13. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, so it's funny that you say ask questions because Troy Williams on the previous episode of this, great, amazing guy. One of his pieces of advice was don't be afraid to ask questions. Yeah. So what I've taken away is take it in small bites. Right? I'm gonna sort of paraphrase what you said because especially at RE/MAX Pros, we're throwing a lot at you guys as far as tools and suggestions and everything else. So take it in small bites. You don't need to learn everything at once, right? You talked about shackles and Hatfield. So have a mentor. Have someone that you trust and don't be afraid to ask questions, right?
Absolutely. Because, we're all – the thing I love about RE/MAX Pros, seriously, and it's the reason that I came here, because being on site, this is the reason that I asked you.
This is the reason I asked you into this podcast because all I really want is for you to talk about how great we are.
Well, you are. I mean, I go down. I drink the Kool-Aid. That's all I do.
Whatever.
No, but when I first came here, Alan set me up with Dave Lineker on the show that he used to do, and he said because he goes, well, you're rookie of the year. I want you to go in there and talk to him, and he was so gracious. And he was talking to me, and he goes, "What are RE/MAX Pros?" And I said, "Well, y'all were talking about golf before I came on." And I said, "And it's kind of like golf. If you want to get better, play with people who are better than you."
Yep. Play with better golfers.
And honestly, that's why I came here, because I knew people. I knew Alan, and he was the first and only person I spoke to when I wanted to make the move in the height of the recession.
Yeah,
I left Ryland in 2009 and came here in 2010.
Yep. It's funny because a lot of people, when they talk about joining a company, a lot of people decide, well, I want to go someplace where I'm going to be number one. And what a shallow way of looking at how to become better, right? Because if you want to be better, surround yourself with better people.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we've got a few minutes left, and here's maybe the most important piece. Yeah. I know how important your family is to you.
Yeah, don't make me cry, but yes.
I'm going to do my very best to make you cry. I know what a huge, huge part of your life Rick is, and your daughter, and you've built an incredible family and support network, and your faith. I know that you wear your faith on your sleeve like I do, and I know that's important to you as well. How the heck do you balance that in a business? Exactly. I mean, and yet you do it gracefully, and you do it in a way where you don't hide it, right? I mean, everybody knows what your priorities are, and so in 3 minutes, tell me how you pulled that off, because it's impressive.
Honestly, it took a while. I actually had a coach tell me, okay, during dinner, your phone goes in the other room. Mm-hmm. You are present and you are engaged, because it's killing you because you're not. Mm-hmm. So I now, you actually also taught me this in my schedule and everything. I'm home when Larissa, my daughter, gets home, and she's in high school right now. It's really important that I'm around. Yeah. And just taking that time out to go, look, even if my day is crazy, you guys are number one. Yeah. And whatever time that you need me, that's the time you get me. I can do this other stuff outside of when you're around, and I think that, as far as, from the husband-wife side, it's making dates and making that time to make sure they know that they're special, that they know that they're loved and cared about. Yeah. Because quite frankly, I need them too. Yeah. I need that love and support, on this side too. And I can't expect that if I don't make that a priority for them. Yeah. So, and as far as my faith goes, it's something that, I work on all the time. Mm-hmm. And I've had to learn to go, I can't be everything to everybody unless at first I'm everything upstairs.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And just really be centered that way. Does it work all the time? No. But does it give me strength and some peace to move through my day and to help, my family with what they need? Because I'm nothing without them. Yeah. I mean, and I know that sounds corny, but my daughter is the light of my life. And Rick, I mean, God bless him. He puts up with me. I don't know how the man does it. I really don't.
He is a rock star.
He is I swear, is my hero. He really, truly is. But They are. They're first and foremost in my life.
Well, it's absolutely awesome to see. And I think you're right. I mean, I think even from a business perspective, I think in the end, our clients want that, right? Our clients want to work with somebody that they know has their priorities straight, that their time is valuable. Every once in a while, I hear an agent's voicemail that says, I'll call you back within 15 minutes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, thinking that that's like demonstrating value. And it's not. That demonstrates that you have nothing else going on in your life, right? I mean, make your time a priority. Prioritize your family, your faith, and everything that should hold priority in your life. And by doing that, you demonstrate to your clients that the time that I'm giving you is valuable, right? Yeah. It's really, really valuable.
I honor you, and you're honoring me.
Yeah.
And I love your voicemail. Sunday is a day with your family.
Yeah.
And you've had that forever.
Yeah.
You even told me you gave up a very big commission one time when your family really needed it.
Amy was not happy. Amy was not happy about that.
You know, but seriously, that's incredibly important. And that's why, again, we have you guys as mentors and people that we can look up to and go, you know what? It is okay to say, not right now. These folks need me.
Well, if anybody wants any advice on branding and creating a brand that makes a difference in your business and then living to it, I would encourage you to reach out to Kelly. You've done a fantastic job, and thank you for being part of our team. It means a lot to me. And thank you for being here today.
It's a joy. Thank you so much.
All right, dude.
See ya.
See ya.